everyone, and welcome back to the Perfectly Imperfect podcast, the podcast where we dive into the realities, challenges, and victories of navigating life with a chronic illness as a teenager. We're so excited today because we have someone super special joining us. We're introducing someone who has been by my side through it all, my best friend, Rosalind. Rosalind has been a constant source of support and laughter for me, and we've shared many unforgettable moments together. And over the past 6 years, I think Rosalind's perspective is the perfect addition to my podcast. At this age, best friends tend to be the ones who understand the day-to-day struggles, the challenges, and the experiences that come with being a teenager. For my podcast, having Rosalind on can help young listeners understand the importance of having a strong support system outside of family and how these friendships are valuable for keeping your spirits up. So without further ado, let's welcome Rosalind.
Hi guys, thank you for having me today.
We're so glad to have you here. And I can't wait to dive into our story and all the adventures we've experienced till now. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about just how we met and how we became friends.
Yeah. Well, we've been friends for almost 6 years now?
It's been a minute.
Been a good minute. And we actually met because Nala was in homeschooling, and I was freshly joining homeschooling. So she was the one who was able to introduce me into what it was like, and we spent a lot of time together because we did school together.
Yeah. And I remember the first time I met Rosalind, she had just woken up from a nap, and I remember she was the crankiest person I've ever met. And this was like the first time I met her, and so I was like, oh, like maybe I don't know. I was just like, it was very awkward, and I was like, oh gosh, this might not be the best. But then we're here 6 years later, so.
Well, to be fair, we also I wasn't a big fan of the girl who was trying to get me into school and stuff.
Okay. That's true.
It just from the get-go, it was a little iffy.
Okay.
But I warmed up to you or something.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm just trying to think, what are some because it was 6 years ago. I can't really think of a lot of what happened back then.
Well, at first we spent a lot of time together because we obviously had to do a lot of school, and there was other kids around at the same time. So we weren't really the closest. We were just kind of people who hung out and did stuff together.
Yeah, I always called her my fun friend because we never necessarily got into anything deep, close friends type of stuff. But we always just had the best times together.
We were always just busy doing something.
Yeah, it was so random.
I kind of think that we were those side quest friends.
Yeah.
So
every show.
Honestly, we would do anything together just as long as she'd pick me up.
Freeloader!
We'd go anywhere.
Yeah.
And we'd do anything. Yeah. We honestly have done some crazy things.
We really have. We can't be exposing ourselves on here though. Okay. So let's kind of get into the whole, me being sick thing. So how do you think we've navigated the balance of having fun and then dealing with the challenges of my chronic illness? Because obviously we hang out a lot, but I still have many chronic illnesses, so.
Well, it was definitely a bit of a different experience from the beginning because we had only been best friends for I think a year at that point.
Yeah, because I was
it was still pretty. We'd still been really close, but not to the point where this was expected.
Yeah.
And it was definitely a bit different in the fact that it happened so suddenly. It literally happened overnight.
Yeah. One day I left the house and came back, and I was like, oh, by the way, I was in the hospital for 3 days.
Oh, yeah. And it happened at a point where it was just summertime, and we were all chilling, we were doing our own thing, and all of a sudden you came back and you were sick.
Yeah.
And we never did really expected it to get to where it was at, but it was definitely a bit of a challenge to know what was gonna happen and where we were moving from that point.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hospital trips where I'd show up with my snacks.
She okay, great best friend right here, because she came one time with a balloon, chicken noodle soup and garlic knots. And I just did not expect this. She was like, oh, I might bring you something. And I'm thinking like, oh, she's going to bring me a cookie or something. No, she came with a whole full course meal.
No, because I know what they have in those hospitals. Like,
no, she was, I mean, it was really good.
Like, I couldn't leave you there with your little porridge and stuff. Like,
porridge is crazy.
Porridge and orange juice. Like, you gotta get you some flavor or something. I know they were not salting that food.
No, they weren't. But the pizza was pretty good.
Oh, was it?
I won't lie. Yeah, the pizza was kind of bomb.
Okay,
but,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the garlic knots were better.
They were. I can't lie. I can't lie. But, like, I do think that, like, even us, like, because we kind of, like you said, we always did stuff and all that stuff. So I feel like when I did get my illness, it was kind of like okay, we can still have fun, but I feel like we still had to.
But it was still at the point where it was like, it was so strange.
Yeah. Because
it wasn't really like something that was set in place. Like, oh, this is why you're having these symptoms, or this is why this happened. Mm-hmm. It was just like, it happened out of the blue. You ended up getting sick. Mm-hmm. You ended up having the symptoms you experienced, and we just had to go along with it. Like, it was nothing. Yeah, it was like completely random. Yeah, and I think also like when we started becoming friends, like even I feel like it was really cool of you to be so like even if it was like, oh, we would like go on bike rides and stuff, and I'm like, I don't have energy to do that. You know what I mean? We would just go and be like, we spent many days just chilling on her couch and just binge watching movies.
Yes, it was so fun.
With the snacks and everything. Like some of the days that Nala wasn't feeling good, she'd call me up and I'd go over so that way she didn't have to be home alone. And we'd get all of our snacks. We'd find a list of movies that we wanted to watch, and we'd just binge watch them for the day.
It was so fun. Like, I, like, vividly remember this, too, of just, like, me being like, oh, I'm so sorry. And you're just like, no, like, like, if we're gonna watch a movie, we're gonna binge something.
No, you don't gotta convince me to couch potato. Like, come on.
Right.
And also, some things when we weren't able to go outside and we weren't able to go on, like, walks and stuff, instead we'd, like, bake or stuff.
Yeah.
And we'd
they didn't always come out right, but...
Oh my god, one time we made a cookies and cream Reese's ball. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. That was like beginning, like that was before even COVID happened. And that was like, it was so good, guys. Trust, it was good. It was good. Did it look cute? Alright, so maybe not.
You might have taken a bite of it and you might have like cracked a tooth, but you know, they were bomb. Exactly. And they had love.
They did.
They had love.
They were good. Okay, trust.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think are some misconceptions people have about being friends with someone who's chronically ill?
Misconceptions?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like a big one that people tend to think about when they find somebody that's sick or they want to become friends with them is that they are constantly going to be talking about their illness and their struggles with it. And that it's going to become something that's part of the conversation 24/7 or something that they constantly need to be aware of and watching you for. But in reality, I think people around the actually sick person, like more people around you bring up your illness more than you do.
Yeah.
Like they tend to be the one to talk about it and to ask questions about it versus when you're friends with somebody who's ill, it just kind of falls into the background.
Yeah.
It kind of just goes into, okay, this happened, but we still get to go out and we still get to do things.
Yeah.
And we still get to talk to people. Like, people make it such more of a big deal about what is happening that they tend to forget that this is an actual, like, this is your friend. You're supposed to have fun. You're supposed to do stuff.
Yeah.
And another thing I think people tend to overlook too is how much it actually affects anything. Because half the time, more than half the time, you forget that it's even there. You forget that it's even around. Like, if you're truly having fun and you're truly being a supportive person for your sick loved one, your sick best friend, you should be able to go around and laugh and have fun without even mentioning it, without even thinking about it.
Yeah. It's actually weird hearing you, like, talk about this, just because, like, I don't know, for some reason in my brain, it's like, even though you've always been my best friend and you always, like, cared about me. I guess it's different hearing you say this because I'm like, oh, I'm guessing it's always like on her brain. And when you say it, you're like, no, like I forget sometimes, and you're just like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like I think it's just so crazy because for me, I'm like, okay, like it's in my brain as in like, okay, maybe like, you know, don't run like that, or like I don't know, just making sure that I'm good.
That you're making other people nervous.
But like I feel like if I'm over here thinking that, I feel like I'm making other people nervous. So it's kind of crazy, like hearing you say this.
No, for the most part, you're just kind of chilling, and you're just kind of being like, man, when's the next time we're gonna go out to eat or something? Like,
yeah, that's actually insane.
And obviously, there's little things that happen where you're like, okay, like if you pull out a water bottle and you put your liquid IV in it or something. Yeah. But that's like the most that happens.
That's crazy.
And
oh my gosh.
Go about your day.
Yeah.
Chilling.
Wow. So are there things that other friends or people in our lives do that make you feel they don't understand what I'm going through?
Yes. That's flat out.
Couldn't you finish it?
No. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What was the question?
No. Continue. Like you already knew what I was talking. I just said, are there things that other friends or people in my life?
It genuinely irks my soul when people want to make the biggest deal about something they know nothing about, and about something they couldn't even fathom having.
Yeah.
Like, it's genuinely, it can be concerning to see some of the things that happen when you go through an attack, or the things that you have to do to keep yourself healthy. It can be concerning. But there have been times where I felt that people were overstepping their line and overstepping their boundary in questioning how you're handling your health and the things you should be doing. There have been many a times where people have asked me like, oh, shouldn't she be relaxing right now? Like, you don't want to, she shouldn't be overworking herself right now.
Like, who asked you? Respectfully.
Or them questioning like, oh, if she has a headache, maybe she should like sit down, or like, you know, maybe she shouldn't be dealing with this all on her own. She should constantly have somebody watching her 24/7. Yeah. And it kind of irks me because because they tend to think when you have illness that you're somebody who cannot be alone, like cannot handle themselves, cannot take care of themselves. Yeah. But in reality, if people truly knew what went on in the background, they would know you're more than capable of handling yourself and more than capable of being able to take care of yourself, because you do put the work in. Yeah. And it's like, it is a lot of work, obviously, but like Rosalie knows, like, okay, if I'm telling her like, okay, I need to sit down, I need to do this, I need to do that, like, okay, she's like, okay, like I'm gonna listen to you. But if I'm like living my best life, people just like to bring it up. That's what gets me. I'm just like, okay, if I am snowboarding or like, I don't know, doing something like I would normally do, and then they're just like, oh, well, maybe you should sit down. If I look okay, if I seem okay, if I'm not, no, because is she not, are her legs not walking right
now? That's what I'm saying.
They're taking steps.
Right, I'm just like, okay, if I'm walking, if I'm doing this, like, okay, obviously I'm okay.
I mean, she might have like a little limp to it.
All right.
Like,
coming out of that is like, crazy.
That's like a little natural waddle. Like, you just got that.
Okay, she just said I waddle.
Exactly.
All right.
Like, y'all don't gotta be that concerned.
Coming at me like that is crazy. Wow. Okay.
No, I'm defending you. Like, your walk is naturally like that. Like,
thanks.
They don't have to worry.
Wow.
Like, I've only been looking at it for 6 years.
Oh my God. Telling them I have a waddle is wild.
But yeah, and then the other big thing I feel like people try to do too much about is also when you are exhibiting symptoms and when you are actually like at a point where you may need to sit down to calm down, or you may need to take a breath, walk away from the friend group, do something. People have the tendency to like overanalyze it and to do the most about it. Like sometimes you'll ask, like, I remember sometimes you asked me when you're like, oh, can you get my earplugs out of my bag? Can you get my medicine? Can you do stuff? And it's not that big of a deal, but at the minute most people around us start seeing that happen, they tend to go into like freak out mode. Yeah. Like, you're actually gonna drop dead there.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, okay, like, give me a minute, let me breathe it out. Yeah. Yeah, like that's why I feel like it's really cool having you around when I hang out with people, because I'm just like, you get it. Like, you get the fact of like, okay, I'm not, if I'm telling you that I'm about to have one, you're like, okay, that's fine. But if I'm not, if I'm just need to chill out, need to sit down, like, everything, no, like, you don't freak out. I'm
well,
just,
even
like,
half the time, like, you really don't have to think about it all that much. Like, you will say things and you will, like, show things.
I think it shows a lot, yeah.
You will show it if you really are at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you can't visibly see that you're at that point,
yeah,
you're not at that point.
Exactly. Tell them this, guys. Okay, so can we talk back to, okay, so I do have a question. Okay, so I really don't want to share this, but I do want to ask, could you share how it is to see me have an attack? And I don't want to share this, but versus how people think it'll be, and then also share like how you handle my attacks, kind of in detail, to try to.
So definitely one of the biggest things I will say when it comes to you having attacks is that they are very scary to see at first. When you don't know how to handle it, and when you don't know exactly what is going on, what to do, it can be much harder to be able to process fully and to be able to think quickly on your feet, just because of how serious they can get, and they can literally go from 0 to 60 in minutes. So usually what it looks like for you to have an attack, you can kind of see it in your face usually. And also, as your best friend, I can always tell, like, I don't want to say I can tell immediately, but I just, you kind of have that look on your face where you're like, something's not right here. You give this look off, and you give off like you're looking around trying to distract yourself. And so that's when the point where you kind of have to watch to see whether or not, you know, it'll pass or it'll go into an attack. That's like the middle ground.
Okay.
And for the most part, I want to say like 5 times out of 10, it usually just passes. Like, nothing happens. But for the times that it does happen, you're very, you talk about it a lot, right? You'll end up saying something, you'll be like, hey, I need to go walk away, I need to go sit down and stuff. So that's the point where you kind of like let you walk around, let you do whatever you need to. But kind of keep you in a close distance just in case. And sometimes what can happen is that if you do go into an attack, I'll sit you down, I'll sit next to you, you know, have you talk to me a little bit, have you say things to make sure your memory's still in check, to make sure you still remember things. We'll have you, you know, like use your hands, kind of squeeze my hand. I'll tell you, like, hold my hand, squeeze my hand, so we can still tell if you're able to use your hands and still in function of like your grabbing
joints. Your grabbers is crazy. Your grabbers. No, I like that term better. Your grabbers.
If you move your legs up and down just to make sure they're not on low power mode. Just
low power mode, right? Yep. Feel you.
For the most part, it's not even like your physical symptoms. It's more like your mental symptoms, like you remembering things, you knowing how to do, like how to pick up your water bottle, being able to pick up your water bottle and put your IV in it. For the most part, if you do get to that point, you know, we'll end up pulling out a salt pill, and we'll have you sit down, we'll have you chill for a minute. If it does get to the rare cases where you do end up like having mini seizures or something.
Because I feel like with you, I feel like I don't have like seizures a whole lot, but they do happen. Usually. Yeah, they do happen. I feel like semi-frequently. It's just like I feel like with you, it just like you just
more pass
away.
out.
Yeah.
You don't really seize. You just kind of like 1 minute you're gone. Gone.
Explaining it like that is crazy.
Like, that's literally how it is. Middle of the sentence. Hey guys, how's it? God. In another dimension. And also, I think it's more helpful for me to be able to explain this too, because I have experience with it, and I kind of know the tips and tricks to be like, all right, if you passed out on the ground, go get some ice. Come on, let's wake you up. Like, don't let you lay down for too long, because if you're laying down, there's a good chance you're gonna end up taking a nap right there again. And just, I think it's, okay, no offense at all, but it's kind of funnier than anything. It's like, what are you doing? Like, get on the ground. Like, more convenient.
Oh.
Like, you know, the last one at the movie, that was convenient. You know, people were busy watching the movie.
Uh-huh.
I had my popcorn next to me. I was snacking while you were chilling and we were sitting.
Uh-huh.
Like, and then the other half of the time, like the one time we were actually out for lunch. Do you remember?
99 restaurant?
We were with my family.
That was bad.
We were with my family and she ended up passing out. We were outside actually.
Yeah.
And so
like the ambulance came out.
We had to call an ambulance and everything.
That was crazy.
But that was also one of the times before we really knew how to handle it.
Yeah.
Like exactly. You knew how to handle it, but like I was still iffy.
Yeah. So that was the beginning. But yeah. It's like what people don't understand, I feel like, is that it's like people think that it's like the same thing every single time. It's like no. It's different every single time. So it's like you can think, oh yeah, it happened this way, so I got you next time. No, you don't, bro.
No, you sure do not.
Right, you do not have me next time because we also talk about a lot is just like the fact that if I don't know you, if I'm not safe with you, if we don't have a connection, exactly. If we don't have a connection, like the only people that I remember are like my family and literally Rosalie and maybe one of my other friends, like. There's a handful of people that I remember, and it's like everybody else. I'm like, I could have known you for 17 years of my life. Yeah, and still don't know you. Yeah.
And so here's the thing too. Also, what they don't talk about is they see the physical symptoms. They see you losing your memory. They don't talk about how embarrassing you be getting when we're around other people. I mean that in the nicest way possible. But there have been times where people have genuinely tried to help me and like been like, oh my God, what can I do for you? What can I get you? And I'd be like, oh, can you go get me this? They'll come back with whatever I need, and you'll be like, ugh. One of the genuine experiences we've had with this is one time I asked one of my guy friends to go get something for Nala. I asked him to go get a cup of water and to bring it back to me. He brought it back to me, and he tried to offer it to you, and you just looked back at me and went, yo, who's this dude? And then you look back at him, and you're like, why was he looking at me? I was like, Nala, he's trying to give you something. And you're like, okay, but can he stand a little farther?
Oh, gosh. The embarrassment that I go through hearing about what happens during this, and I'm just like, oh, like, I wonder when he did that.
No, to be fair, he genuinely went with it. He was like, oh, I'm just a worker. Like, I'm just a worker. Don't worry about me. You're like, okay, well, can you go back to work?
Right. Why are you still here?
And there are very specific triggers into your whole thing too.
Yeah.
Because certain things you will remember, like your family and you know me and obviously, but there are also some things that you just remember out of nowhere. Like you'll just genuinely be like, oh, but we gotta do that thing later, right? Like, you don't even know where we are right now. What are you talking about?
What if we had to do that thing later, though?
We had to do that. We had to go to the store later. Girl, you don't even know where we are now.
Okay, leave me alone. Oh my God.
Yeah, but that's just kind of what it looks like. Yeah. Especially for me and especially for other people around.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for like explaining that a little more because I feel like people just don't understand.
You think you're prepared? You're not. You're not.
Okay, so what do you think is like a hard part? Like, what's the hard part about having a friend with a chronic illness? Be honest though. I wanna know what's in your brain.
What's the hard part about having a chronically sick best friend?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, it's just so many things.
Okay. You can be quiet now, respectfully.
Let me think. Oh, there's definitely one hard part that you will definitely relate to and you'll understand is that sometimes when we make plans to go out places, we also have to account for the fact of what we're gonna do within those next 3 days. Yeah. Because a big part of it is that you need to rest and you need to chill. And we cannot afford to go out and do something high energy and then also expect for us to be able to go out the next morning. Yeah. That's one of the bigger things that's like, all right, if we're choosing to go hang out with some friends tonight and we're choosing to go do something, not get home till 11 o'clock, like that sort of thing. Yeah. we also have to be prepared to not wake up till 12
11.
o'clock
Right.
the next day.
That is the hard part. Just like me having to prepare the day before and being like, okay, let me make sure I get enough rest, and then the day after, like that. I hate that
And
so
this
much.
and this goes for any day of the week. This is not just the weekends where you can sleep in. This can literally be hanging out Monday night, and Tuesday you will have to sleep in.
Yeah, like there is no
getting
away from it.
No.
Yeah, so that is a hard part. I will say that. You know what I just thought about? I don't know if it's like hard for you, but like I would say for me too is like I would say it's a hard part for me, but like having to like cancel because I'm not feeling well and I'm just sitting here like.
That would be hard. I think I cancel more than you.
That's true. You are the flakiest person I've ever met. No, but for real, like, no, she really is unreliable. No.
Unless I'm sitting here right now, and unless you're sitting here right now, like, there's a good chance it's not happening.
Yeah, that's true.
We can pray and we can hope, but...
I know, sometimes I'd be there more than her, and I'd just be like, wait, aren't I the one with the like, what you got?
What I got? What you got?
Disrespectful.
Oh my god, yeah.
It just, like, yeah, no, you're kind of right though, low-key.
Yeah.
That just sometimes we plan to do something, and sometimes we want to go out and hang out. But then we also just, sometimes you just gotta back off. You gotta be like, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta like.
I guess I'll see you next week.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta remember like, okay, maybe I can't do this time,
But it's a little easier for us because I can kind of just pop up.
Yeah, that's true. Like you just kind of be like, okay, well, if you can't go out, then I'll go in.
Yeah.
I just be like, okay.
Right. I'll see you in an hour.
You're not coming over, then I'm coming over your house. Like, okay, well, what if I didn't want to?
The amount of times that genuinely happened where we were supposed to have plans, but she just wasn't feeling good. So I was like,
so I was trying to get out of hanging out with her.
no, so we were actually had plans for the rest of that night. Actually gonna be hanging out together.
I don't like that. All right, so we're kind of getting to the last few questions. So what is like one thing that you've learned, I guess, about yourself through our friendship?
Through our friendship?
Through our friendship, yeah.
And through like everything that's happened?
Yeah, everything that's happened. Like, I mean, you've been through a lot. Like I haven't been easy on you.
I think one of the biggest things that this have taught me is that if you do truly have good friends, there's nothing that can replace that. Like, yeah, guys. Like, if you have somebody who truly loves you and truly wants to be there for you, something like this won't affect it. Yeah. Like, something, illness, anything. Like, if you truly care for that person, you will find a way to go and work with it. Yeah. Like we have.
Exactly. Because it's like, for me, when I first got sick too, I remember like even telling Rosie all this stuff. It's like, okay, not to say she had a way out, but we had only known each other for like a year. So it was like, she could have, like, respectfully, she could have ghosted me. Like, she could have just been like,
no, the ghost.
No, but she could have like been like, this is maybe too much for me. You know what I mean? Because like we both have like a lot of stuff that goes on in our lives. You know what I mean?
Because that has happened before.
Exactly. It's happened with multiple friends. So it could have been like, we have a lot going on in each of our lives. Like, I'm sorry, like I can't do this. And I'm like, okay, like that's okay. But I think it's the fact that like you stayed. You not only stayed, but you like supported, helped, were there during the beginning, the middle, the end. You know what I mean? Like you were there the entire time. And then now it's like me going into like.
Well, to be fair, I was just like, yo, can we still hang?
Exactly.
I know you're sick and all, but like.
And it's like, it's crazy because you've seen the whole thing, and it's like, okay, now I'm having attacks, maybe like once every 2 weeks, and that's like before I had attacks 3 times a week. So like you've even seen me being super sick to now being like, okay, like I can handle a lot more things. You know what I mean? So
it's for the victories and the losses.
Exactly. Like
there have been a lot of times where it was very confused, and you were still trying to figure it out and trying to figure out what was the best way to do it. But those victories were so sweet, where like something would go right and you would figure out why this symptom was happening, and it would feel like literally a million like happiness. Yeah, it would just be the greatest thing in the world to be like, yo, we figured it out. Yeah. Okay, I will say one big thing I did learn from being your friend and from this happening is it really did build my respect for people who have disabilities and change the way I kind of view them. Okay. Because a lot of the times when you hear somebody has a disability, you kind of either think they're elderly or or they're not capable of like taking care of themselves.
Yeah, maybe they're like born with it or something.
Yeah, where there are just situations where they didn't choose.
Yeah.
But you're the complete opposite. You're somebody who did not have this all along, who is young, so it's not like you had any health problems before, anything concerns, and also somebody who had a very active life before this happened. So it kind of built my respect in the way of changing the way I thought about people who had these kind of illnesses, in that they're still very normal, still very active, still doing the best that they can. They just happen to like need crutches every once in a while.
You need to be in a wheelchair, roll me around a little bit,
Oh, that reminds me. Okay, so at the beginning of Nala's illness, when this first happened, and before she had any of her things, any of her wheelchairs, any of her like disability claims, any of that.
I'm scared where you're going with this.
Hold on. At the very beginning, when it was still just us messing around and kind of assuming there's just, you had like a little thing going on. I don't know. I remember us having to like do the most whenever you weren't able to move. Because one of the first big symptoms that she had was she would lose feeling in her legs, and she would just could not walk. It was not working. No arm. No, she pick up her drink, she drank it, but those legs were not. They were pure jiggle, like just.
Did you just?
Okay. No, wait.
All right, Jello.
They were just not working. And so trying to find those different ways to make it work was like the greatest thing ever. Because I remember how if we weren't able to because you live in a 2-story building. Yeah. So one of the biggest things we would have to do is we would stick you in a chair, in a rolly chair, in like an office chair. And we would I remember rolling you down the hallways, down the stairs to the kitchen. I'd cook you breakfast.
No, she was a real one, because she made me breakfast. She would take my dog out. She would do all this stuff, and then by the time I wake up, I just have a full course meal and everything would be done. And I'd just be like, is this the best friend ever, or what?
No, because it'd genuinely be funny. I'd be in the kitchen, I'd make something for you, make you a sandwich or something, and you'd just be chilling in your little rolly chair. And the thing is, too, is that it's kind of good, because you want to come downstairs with me? I'll roll you around. I'll push you around.
Exactly. If I wanted to talk any trash. Oh, okay. You want to talk?
Yeah, you want to talk? You can go sit in that room now and just push you over.
Me just over here trying to squirt.
I just squish you down.
Oh my god. Girls are the best. It's so funny. We're laughing about it now. During those times we were laughing though. Guys, it's not even those were hard times, but we were laughing during those times too.
But that's what I mean. It has to be funny, because there's no possible way we are rolling you in a rolly chair right now downstairs. You know how you almost fell 3 times?
Oh my gosh. Not even.
I remember the time we put you on a mattress. And we slid the mattress down the stairs to get you down.
Yo, because I didn't know you were here for that.
Yes.
That's happened a few times.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we just had to get you down the stairs quickly, so we stuck you on a mattress and we sent you.
Oh, God. Oh, my gosh. That's insane. See, this is some of the crazy things that we go through, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so I kind of want to close up here. So one last question, all right, best friend.
Okay, one more.
So what advice would you give to someone who has a friend with a chronic illness who doesn't know much about it, doesn't know how to support them, doesn't know really anything, like we knew in the beginning?
This is a very in-between question, because the number one thing I will say is definitely do not take it personally. Nothing. At no point should your friend's illness, should you take it personally, because you have this understanding that they're going through a lot more than you understand. And one of the biggest things I will tell you is to just try and make it fun. It's stressful enough, and you just be there for them, do stupid stuff, make them laugh, and just go with the flow. That's it at the end.
No, that's like a good thing to tell viewers. Because a lot of friends don't know what to do, and it's
they think that they have to have a part in it.
Yeah, and it's also they do too much, like you said.
They think they have to help you. They have to do something that will make you better.
Yeah.
But the best thing that you can truly do for somebody who is sick is just be there.
Yeah.
Like, just be there. They will call you when they need you.
Yeah.
And they will call you again. You don't want to be home alone? You call me up. I'll be here. I'll sit on the couch all day. You don't gotta ask me twice.
This girl. No, guys, there's sometimes where, like, I'd be, like, upstairs. Guess who come walking up in my room? And I just be like,
oh my God.
where'd you come? I didn't invite you.
I could feel it telepathically.
Nah.
Like, you miss me.
I miss you. That's how you felt. Oh my God.
But just, yeah, when you have somebody who's sick in your life and you have somebody who is going through something like Nala where it was suddenly, or somebody who has had it all along in their life, the best thing you can do is just go with the flow and just do your best to be there for them in as much you can do. You're not going to be able to be there for them 100% of the time, but it's the times that you are there that does count.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was so cool. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, we had such a good time talking with you guys, and just kind of explaining the ins and outs of having a friend with multiple chronic illnesses, because it's very possible to have multiple friends, and especially it's always good to have one good best friend who's there through it all.
You need one, just one.
So thank you so much for coming on the Perfectly Imperfect podcast. Please subscribe to my Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, because this video will be out soon.
And her Spotify, y'all.
Yeah, and my Spotify as well. So thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.